Good morning. It's 8 a.m. It's Wednesday, and this is your live Q&A to get your top questions answered on taking a break, changing your relationship with alcohol, and living a happy alcohol-free life. Now, I have an amazing question today because it's a cycle that I think many people find themselves in, and I found myself in this cycle for quite a long time. So it's this phenomenon, an interesting phenomenon that we go through when we're trying to change our relationship with alcohol. Before I get to the question, though, I just want to make sure we know each other, make sure we're on the same page, make sure we are good friends. My name is Karolina Rzadkowska, and I'm a certified alcohol-free life coach. I've been in this industry for about 3 years after my life-changing break from alcohol completely changed my life and my world. I'm also the author of a new book coming out in January called Euphoric, Ditch Alcohol and Gain a Happier, More Confident You. And basically, I teach how to make alcohol insignificant in our lives so that we can get hungrier to go chase our bigger dreams. So we can start getting high naturally off of really living a life we love versus numbing out with alcohol. And it's this beautiful transition that definitely doesn't happen overnight. And it's not a black and white fix. But over time, over a lot of mindset shifts, over a lot of work, a lot of personal growth, over a lot of mining your soul and your self-discovery, this is a process that I've put together that I've led many clients and students through now of how to not only change their mindset around drinking and alcohol, but also then to rediscover what they really want, what they really need, what they want to do, and who they want to be on this planet, because to me, the point is not to just stop drinking. To me, the point is to let go of what no longer serves you so you can make space for what you really want in your life. And trust me, it's not alcohol. Trust me, it's not a drink at the end of the day, right? There's so many amazing goals and dreams and pleasures that we deny ourselves because we don't believe that we're worthy, or we don't believe that it's even a reality for us or even possible for us. And I want to change that on its head. So my book, Euphoric, Ditch Alcohol and Gain a Happier, More Confident You, isn't just about changing your relationship with alcohol. It's about stepping into your greatness. It's about stepping into your fuller potential. It's about stepping into who you're meant to be. Now, let's get to the question that we have today. So, I'll go a few days without drinking, and then I'll reward myself with a drink. How do I get out of this cycle? So, raise your hand if you've been there. I've definitely been there. I used to drink when I was in college and grad school, like almost every day, whenever I was going out. It was a lot of partying then. And I didn't really have any rules around the drinking. It was really carefree. I just did a lot of it. But as I got older, I really tried to change my drinking, to really make it more moderate, to really balance it more in my life. And I played this game called the moderation illusion, which basically I tried to squeeze in drinking only on the weekend. So maybe Thursday nights, definitely Friday, definitely Saturday, probably definitely Sunday is when I allowed myself to drink, meaning I tried not to drink then through Monday through Wednesday or Monday through Thursday. And this was the cycle I found myself in for a really, really long time. And so it's super, super interesting whether you are a daily drinker or not. What will happen is we'll wake up not feeling our best. And we wake up probably on a Monday morning not feeling our very best, and we vow to ourselves that something has to change. We vow to ourselves that we won't drink anymore. We vow to ourselves that we're taking a break. And so what I often end up seeing, especially, in this group and some of the people I've worked with, is we have all the resolve in the world on day one. All the resolve on the world on day one to really change our drinking pattern and not go back into that hangover or that anxiety, just this really it's this motivation to really escape that pain and to not go back into that pain, right? And so maybe you go a few days without drinking, right? It's Monday, it's Tuesday, it's Wednesday, it's Thursday, and you're starting to feel amazing. You're starting to feel really good. Your sleeping is improving, you're proud of yourself. You're just you're healthier, you're doing all the good things. And then Friday night, you're feeling so good that you decide to celebrate yourself. Celebrate the fact that you haven't been drinking with a drink, right? And this is such a common phenomenon. So first of all, if you've ever found yourself in this cycle, you're not alone. And you're not alone because this is a habit loop that your brain has formed a long time ago. It's like a trick that your brain has fallen into a long time ago, and it's not just you. So very interesting. As I was writing my book, I did a lot of research into different consumption levels in the United States, different patterns among drinkers, different studies around how alcohol affects us, right? Like, not only is this for my book, but as a coach, this is this kind of information that I love, and I just really like to dive deep into it. And there's this one study that shows that people who exercise more, no, let me say that again. Some people who exercise more also drink more. So not all people who exercise, but some people who exercise more drink more. And why is that? So they've deduced from this study that people who exercise more feel like they've earned it and feel like they deserve to treat themselves with a reward. So for example, let's just play out this scenario. Say you're really good all week and you go to the gym and you eat the healthy, kale, and you do all the good stuff. You feel so freaking proud of yourself. You feel so like, oh my gosh, I've been so good. I deserve a treat, right? And this treat comes in, obviously, as alcohol. And so it's actually a cycle that many people find themselves in, and it's really, really, really tied to this idea of I earned it. And it's also really, obviously sometimes we drink because we have a stressful day or we just want to let off some steam or unwind. And so in some ways we're drinking to numb those negative emotions. But also we have another urge to drink, and that's when things are going really well. Things are going really well and we're feeling good and we're like, you know what would make this better? A drink, right? That's what our brain tells us. That's what this like habit loop tells us. And so we fall into this fallacy of thinking that a drink will make it better. And then we have that drink and then a few more, and then we wake up feeling crappy, and then probably the next day we drink some more, and then the whole cycle starts again until you're left back on Monday morning feeling like shit, right? This is the cycle that we find ourselves in. So how can we disrupt the cycle? How can we stop rewarding ourselves with alcohol for not drinking? It's a huge paradox, right? And there's so many different ways to think about this. First of all, we can isolate some of the underlying beliefs. So when I work with a client and my students, I always work on the beliefs underneath their relationship with alcohol. Because until you can change your beliefs underneath, your conscious beliefs and your conscious thoughts, these things will be running on autopilot, controlling your subconscious, controlling all of your desires, right? Habits are very, very ingrained and instinctual. We don't know, we can't describe why we have that urge to brush our teeth every morning, but we do, right? Every morning you're like, beeline for the bathroom, let me brush my teeth, let me get a clean mouth. It's a habit that's been ingrained for so long, and we get such a good reward after brushing our teeth. We get this clean mouth, right? And so in the same way, we've taught ourselves that after we do something good, after we, accomplish this project, or we work out, or we eat well, or we had a tough day at work and we finished it all, we get a reward. We earned a reward, we were good, and now we get a drink. So in many ways, this is like a habit loop that plays out with the cue being, I've been good, so therefore I deserve something bad. And there's this belief underneath there too that really goes to the effect of saying, this is great, right? Because you feel really good at the end of the week, you're productive, you've earned it, whatever those feelings are when you're in this kind of cycle. It's not out of a depression that you're drinking, or it's not out of like a wanting to numb the uncomfortable. You're very much like high on life, right? And so you think that a drink will make it even better. And that's the fundamental belief that we have to change. Because if you have a belief that when you're on this kind of high, when you're, smashing it in life and you've earned a drink, you fundamentally believe a drink will make it better. Now, you might believe that consciously. You might not believe that consciously. You might be like, you know what? I've gone down that road every single time and a drink has not made it better, because then I go into this downward spiral and this downward loop. And the thing is that we need to take this belief, a drink will make it better, and completely reverse it. Completely reverse it on its head so that it's no longer controlling you in your subconscious. We need to start believing the idea that a drink will make it worse. A drink will make me feel worse. Not that a drink is something I can't have, or that, it's a pleasure only some people get to have, but I just don't. But rather that a drink will chemically make me feel worse. And actually, if you've ever really, really been analytical and super logical about an experience with drinking, you can deduce that a drink will always make you feel worse. A drink will release a certain amount of dopamine when you first drink it. And that's that initial buzz that you get, right? It's also slowing down your central nervous system. So it's literally slowing your brain down. It's slowing down the cell's functions. And it's giving you an inability to think and feel as well as before. Obviously, when you have more drinks, we all know this phenomenon. We get slurry, we black out, we can't walk because literally our bodies and brains are slowed down. They're like almost in a coma because alcohol is depressing them so much. At the same time, though, alcohol doesn't just create this high, it also creates a crash. So in addition to being a depressant in our system, when our blood alcohol level is falling, it actually feels really, really, really uncomfortable in our body. In addition to that, we release a ton of stress hormones in order to combat that alcoholic depressant nature. So we release cortisol, adrenaline, and dynorphin into our bodies. And this happens after drinking. And so just like any drug, just like cocaine, just like heroin, yes, there'll be a high, but then you'll come crashing down into a low, right? And the thing is, what can be really cool is that if you're still in a relationship with alcohol, if you're still drinking, if you're still in a cycle of having alcohol around in your week, you can actually experiment with this. You can actually start testing this theory for yourself. Because I bet you, if you have a drink or two, and then you stop drinking, and you just take a journal and you start noting how you feel, in an hour, you're going to feel really crappy. You're going to feel really tired. Your mood will be low. You might feel frustrated. You might feel impatient. You might feel grouchy. You might feel grumpy. Like, that's the effect of alcohol. We often don't know because we keep drinking and then we keep numbing ourselves to the experience. We don't even have any deduction, powers left. And then we wake up in the morning feeling crappy. So the underlying belief here is a drink will make it better. And what we need to do is we need to radically change that belief into a drink will make this worse. And if you don't believe me, I highly recommend the book Alcohol Explained by William Porter. William Porter is one of those geniuses that has a very logical, analytical mind. And what he did was he's one of the first people who really went into the annals of, I don't mean it that word in that way, into the backlog of all the scientific journals. And he really, really brought out a lot of information that was sitting in these scientific journals about how alcohol affects us and brought it to the common public, brought it to common knowledge. And so if you are questioning and if you're thinking that a drink makes you feel better, you need to read that book. Alcohol Explained by William Porter will change your idea of how drinking really, truly affects you. And you'll come away from reading that book thinking, wow, alcohol never makes me feel better. Alcohol makes me feel worse. Alcohol always makes it worse. So there's a belief there to change, and there's a lot of learning and peeling back the layers of doing that. There's a lot of growth in this community, and so many new people come in all the time, and we have so many cool soul seekers who are here trying to change their relationship. And one of the biggest mistakes sometimes I see is jumping into immediately trying not to drink without working on your mindset, without reading the books, without listening to the podcasts. Because until you have all this information, you just feel like a crazy person who's trying not to drink but also really wants to drink. You have to work on those subconscious desires, at the same time, at least, if you really want to make a sustainable, effectual change. Okay, so there's the belief that alcohol makes it better that we need to reverse. We need to learn scientifically why alcohol make it worse. And I remember very viscerally learning this lesson because for as long as I was drinking, I thought a drink would make this better, right? Always. Even when you're a little hungover, right? When you're a little hungover, you're like, well, a drink will make this better. That's this inherent belief that we have. And even with that kind of thinking, right? A drink does always make it worse. It does numb you for a little bit, but then it really does make you crash even harder later. So changing that belief is one thing. But another part of this equation is really this idea of I've been good, so I've earned it. And the thing to do with this is to really understand, well, okay, so when I am good, when I am doing the things that make me proud, when I am not drinking, when I am working out, when I am eating well, when I am doing it well in my job, anticipate the fact that you will think that you earned it and that you will deserve a reward. Don't wait for it to be Friday night and to be like, oh gosh, I've been so good all week, I deserve a drink. Anticipate the fact that when you go a few days without drinking, you will feel like you deserve a reward. Anticipate that right now and decide right now what your reward is going to be. Guess what? You do deserve a reward. You did earn it, right? And part of the biggest problem of changing our habits is that we have these really, really tight habit loops going on in our brain where we have a cue, an action, and a reward. And for so long, maybe being good all week is your cue, your action is drinking, and your reward is whatever feeling you think you get from drinking. So instead of trying to just white knuckle and not drink and just, tell yourself, I don't deserve a drink right now, or I can't drink, or whatever it is, anticipate the fact that after you go a few days of not drinking, you will feel like you deserve a reward and that you earned it, and have something planned. Now, the best way to change a habit is to actually replace a habit. You don't want to ever white knuckle through a habit. You don't want to ever feel like you're just stopping yourself from playing out the habit. You want to replace the activity. So you want to think of yourself, what feelings do I think alcohol brings me? And now be just really honest here. These probably aren't scientifically true. They're probably not actually happening, but just be honest with yourself. What do I think alcohol is bringing me? What relief do I think it brings me? Do I think it makes me feel relaxed? Do I think it makes me feel pampered? Do I think it makes me feel special? Do I think it makes me feel like I'm having a treat? What do you think? What feelings do you think alcohol brings you? Now, once you isolate those feelings, then you can actually take that information and find another treat that will make you feel the same way, or another reward or activity. So this is the thing. You never ever crave a drink. You never ever crave a cigarette. You never ever crave anything, any habit that we do. What you're really craving is the feeling you think that habit brings you, right? So in the morning when we wake up, and most of us beeline for the bathroom to brush our teeth, we're not like crazy craving the feeling of like, let's put bristles on our teeth and brush around for a little bit. What we're craving, what we really want, is the feeling of a clean mouth. The reward is what's driving us, not the actual action. So knowing that you never crave really a drink, you're craving the feelings that you think a drink will bring you, get clear on what those feelings are for you. Get really clear on what you think a drink will give you. And once you write them down, maybe it's feeling like you don't have to work anymore, right? I mean, how many times do we have a drink and feel, oh, finally my day is done. I don't have to work anymore. I can stop thinking about work. Basically, I can't even think about work if I wanted to because I'm slowing down my brain, right? I don't have to think about work anymore, or I feel like I unwind, or I feel like I get a treat, or I feel like I get like a boost in my day, or I feel like it helps me sleep. Get clear on what feelings you think alcohol brings you. And now I want you to replace your habit with other rewards that bring you those same feelings. And you got to get a little creative, but I bet you can find them. So from one of the, especially with this kind of cycle, one of the top feelings that we think that a drink will give us is, oh, it's a treat. Oh, I feel pampered. Oh, I feel so special, right? Oh, I deserve this little treat. And so knowing that in advance, my number one tip for you is to go out and find incredible alcohol-free beverages to replace this habit with. Because incredible alcohol-free beverages, just imagine if you buy 7 different drinks at the market next time you go to the market, 7 different alcohol-free drinks. Every day or every Friday or whatever your cycle is, you get to experiment with a new drink. You get to try a new drink. You get to treat yourself and pamper yourself. Kudos if the drinks are like really fancy and really special and marketed really well, but you don't have to replace the entire habit. You don't have to completely change it on its head. You can still treat yourself with a drink, and in your habit loop, it starts to feel like the same feelings you associated with alcohol are now getting associated with these alcohol-free drinks. And so it's such a simple way to be like, if you believe that I earned it, I deserve a drink, I haven't drank for so long, or I've been so good, or I worked out, or whatever it is, get yourself a treat like an alcohol-free drink that will make you feel like you earned it and you deserve to try a new drink. If you don't have alcohol-free drinks in your fridge, and I don't care what that means to you, whether that's coconut water or Spendrift or some other kind of fancy like tonic water, it doesn't always have to be alcohol-free beer or wine. Those are okay too. If you don't have something nice in your fridge to drink, you are seriously giving yourself a huge impediment to changing your relationship with alcohol. It's not sustainable because you're taking away the one way you treat yourself all the time, and you're just going cold turkey and white knuckling it. That's not the right way to change your relationship with alcohol. Go to the store, find some alcohol-free drinks. They can be alcohol-free wine, beer, all the cool like drinks they have, or they could be things like coconut water or kombucha or some health tonic or some weird, there's so many things on the market these days. Just find the soft drink section and have fun exploring. And if you find yourself going into this pattern of being good all week and then rewarding yourself with a drink, start rewarding yourself with these alcohol-free drinks. There's so many other ways to reward yourself though. So especially if this cycle plays out in longer time spans for you. Maybe you go 2, 3, 4 weeks without alcohol, and then you decide, oh, I'm going to reward myself with a drink. Anticipate that you're going to feel that way now, and decide what you will reward yourself with. Decide to reward yourself. Maybe if you go a week without drinking, you get to go to book a massage. Maybe if you go 2 weeks without drinking, you get to go to that day-long yoga retreat. Maybe if you go 3 weeks without drinking, you get to book that trip to Hawaii. I mean, decide today how you're going to reward yourself so that when you feel proud, when you feel good, when you're feeling amazing, you're not tempted to go back to alcohol because it's the old habit, the old rewiring that's controlling you. You actually have new rewards in place. Decide today how you will reward yourself when you do a good job so you don't fall into this pattern again. Decide now how you will know that you've earned it and have special treats for yourself. Now, like I said earlier, there's studies that show that some people who exercise more drink more because they feel like they've earned it. So when you feel like you've earned something, when you feel like you've been really, really good, what do you really want in that moment? Do you want to just kick up your feet and stop being good? Maybe that's a desire. Maybe that's the feeling that you wish alcohol would bring you. And there's totally natural and holistic ways that you can still do that. There's ways that you can bring excitement and wildness into your life without a drink. You know, maybe you ditch work at noon on Friday and you just go on a drive up the coast or into the forest or something. Maybe you go see a matinee. Maybe you go just somewhere crazy or do something different. Like, we can treat ourselves. We can induce this feeling of feeling a little wild or feeling like I'm not following the rules anymore. We can give ourselves those feelings all the time with different ways, whether it's jumping into a cold body of water or stop doing what people expect you to do that day and do what you want that day. You know, there's so many ways that we can induce the same feelings. And that's one of the things I work with my clients as well, is not only changing the beliefs we have around alcohol, the subconscious beliefs, but also really ascertaining what our needs are, seeing how we were misguidedly trying to meet those needs through alcohol, and then developing new ways to meet the needs, new ways that actually work. So I hope this video has been helpful for you today. If you find yourself in this cycle, raise your hand, it's been me too, and decide today how you will reward yourself for doing a good job. Not with alcohol, but with something you want even more. Trust me, there's something you want even more than a drink. Right? I mean, if you never get a massage, if you never get a pedicure, if you never get yourself a new book or flowers or a nice dinner out, whatever it is, this is the time that you get to treat yourself. This is the time you get to put more pleasures into your life for doing a good job. So I hope that was helpful. I'll see you next week on Wednesday, 8 a.m. And I'm rooting for you. I love you. And I can't wait to see you live the happiest alcohol-free life going after your biggest dreams.